I don't have to give you my license if it's not a stop on ID state and I didn't commit a crime. What if I decline to give you my ID?
Then
am I free to go?
No.
Why would wait, hold on. Why would I go to jail for a conversation?
Because you're not giving me your identification.
Sergeant, Miss Collins, let me tell you the problem with policing. You guys are so quick to throw people in jail. I didn't do anything wrong. You swore an oath to defend the Constitution. You don't have reasonable articulable suspicion.
I do at this point.
You don't. ID is like crack for cops. It just is. I mean, what you could do, what you could have done, because I wasn't even paying attention, is park back there, ways back, not turn on your lights, and watch to see what I was going to do or doing.
What are you doing for the Speedway?
Nobody told you?
No.
You didn't get the email?
No.
That's not even your fucking business, then, is it?
I go over these videos because we can compile a serious database of information and knowledge. Knowledge is power, and if you have knowledge, you are powerful. And you can stand toe-to-toe against any tyrant. Even on the First Amendment, you have a footing because you know all the 5 elements of the rights outlined, not given to you, because the Constitution doesn't give you rights. It just codifies and outlines and mentions them. But you know the 5 rights of the First Amendment. RAPS, RAPPS, religion, assembly, petition, press, speech. You have an unalienable right to those items. And there's a class of people called the enforcement class. You get the political class who makes laws, which is nothing more, nothing less than the opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. And then you have the law enforcement class, and they're forcing those laws onto the public, whether the laws are good or bad, whether they're moral or immoral, whether they're just or unjust. You have the law enforcement class forcing them on you. What did Washington say about the force of the government? Government is not eloquence. It is not reason. It is force. And like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. What we're going to watch here comes out of Concord, North Carolina. This is called Concord, North Carolina Police Department Getting It Wrong. And just a little background, this guy, his name is Matthew Spacerelli. I was doing an event at the racetrack and had permission to be there. I went to check out the showers and bathrooms. I don't know what that is all about. That the security guard told me about. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom. As I was leaving, I pulled out onto the main road. I got an alert of an aircraft squawking 7700, general emergency. So I pulled over onto the shoulder to use ADS-B exchange and live ATC, that's air traffic control, to track and listen to the flight. Then Officer Collins got behind me and, well, just watch the video and you'll see exactly what happened. He says, I only started recording because I thought we were going to have a problem. There was a problem. There is a problem. And what I find funny is this is the only guy I've ever seen say to a cop, well, maybe San Joaquin Valley Transparency said it, but this is the only time I've seen, or at least in my recollection, a guy say to a cop, getting ID is like crack to you guys. Let's take a listen. I will be interrupting for commentary. Hopefully you'll see it as substantive. Listen to this.
Let's just get this on the record. I have to be suspected of committing a crime, about to commit a crime, or had committed a crime. I didn't do any of those. I did what I could to dispel your suspicion. I told you exactly what was going on. I showed you the apps on my phone. I show you the plane here that's an emergency aircraft diverting to Dublin. I told you exactly what's going on. And in fact, here's the security code. 135 or 134 is what the security officer told me the code was to the bathroom, and you can go over there and verify that.
First of all, what's going on here? He does not have to give this cop any information. As a matter of fact, this cop doesn't care. This cop just sees you as guilty and not innocent. This cop simply wants to just do their job and harass and collect from the public in the name of public safety. They don't care what you say. They don't care what your explanation is. They just view you as guilty and give me your ID. And they're harassing you in the meantime.
To identify me for suspicion, you have to have a reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime had been committed.
Matches the description of camper saying
What's the description of the vehicle?
Vehicle matching a description does not trump your right to be secure in your person. Vehicle matching a description is not reasonable, articulable suspicion. And besides that, it is not probable cause. Just because I have a white truck and the supposed perpetrator, which I think you're making up, had a white truck, that is not probable cause that I have been engaged in the commission of a crime.
We have a white Dodge truck.
There's a lot of white Dodge trucks.
That's very accurate. So you're here. We're getting a call from security who manages Z-Max.
Okay.
Your truck matches the description of the truck that is used to steal campers. Your truck comes back to a business.
Does this description of the truck that steals campers, did they get a license plate?
No.
Did they get anything other than a
No.
white Dodge truck?
No.
That's not reasonable, articulable suspicion that this is the truck.
Exactly. That's why I have to identify
Now,
you.
in the mind of the cop, this may be RAS, a reasonable, articulable suspicion. In the mind of a cop, this might be probable cause, but they need to articulate why they think you are the one who was involved in the commission of crime. That's the articulation. The reason I stopped you is because I reasonably believe that you have committed a crime, but there's 10,000 other white trucks on the road. That's not reasonable by any stretch of the imagination.
Because if you
Identifying me is not going to help you find out whether or not I've
no, but if the
committed
camper
any
goes
crime.
stolen tonight, then I know I can eliminate you because I came and talked to you.
You can eliminate me. What if I came back to steal a camper?
Well, then I already have your information.
See, that is logic right there. The officer is clearly not operating on the plane of logic. She's operating on the plane of, I'm just doing my job. I'm not the moralist I should be. I'm the conformist that makes society worse. I'm just doing what I'm told regardless of what is right, and I don't care about doing what is right regardless of what I'm told. She has no moral or logical footing. None.
But do you see what I'm saying?
You just have
It doesn't
to
make
do your
sense.
part. It does.
I don't have to give you my license if it's not a stop on ID state and I didn't commit a crime.
So
Can we have a
you're in an
supervisor,
area.
please?
I am a sergeant.
It doesn't make any sense, Sergeant.
That's fine. You are here.
Can I see a supervisor? I'm a sergeant. Well, guess what? Sergeants have supervisors. Even if you were a captain, you have a supervisor. There's somebody above you in this militarized food chain. Sergeant, corporal, lieutenant, captain. Hey, that sounds like a standing army to me.
Okay,
In an
what if I
area.
decline to give you my ID?
Then
Am I free to go?
No.
I'm not free to go.
No.
You said it wasn't a traffic stop.
No.
It's
It's
not
a
a
call
traffic
for
stop,
service.
but a call for service
Yes.
isn't enough.
Yes, it is.
It's not
In the
enough.
state of North Carolina, yes, it
It's
is.
not enough, Sergeant.
All right, well, hold on. I'll get a lieutenant out here, and we'll either determine if you're going to jail or not because you're failing.
Why
to give
would
me
wait?
your
Wait, hold on.
And that is a threat. And if you threaten somebody else, that is a threat of violence. Well, how are you going to take me to jail? What if I resist? What if I refuse to go to jail? Well, we're going to force you out of the car. This is why George Washington said, government is not eloquence, it's not reason, it's force. And like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Here we have dangerous public servants acting like masters and overlords to the people who are really supposed to be the masters. And they issue these threats, and the threats are all backed by violence. She just threatened violence on this guy because he wouldn't give his ID. That's the mentality that we're dealing with here. That's the corrupt, evil mentality in the head of this law enforcement official.
Why would I go to jail for a conversation?
Because you're not giving me your
Okay,
identification.
Sergeant, Miss Collins?
You're going to jail. She made it very clear. You're going to jail because you refused to give me your ID after I stopped and harassed you for having committed no freaking crime. All I've got is a hunch. All I've got is white truck, stolen items. He's got a white truck. Why don't I pull him over and harass him and then put that under the category of reasonable articulable suspicion, probable cause?
Let me tell you the problem with policing. You guys are so quick to throw people in jail. I didn't do anything wrong. I just told you what I was doing.
Your driver's license
Because
so
I
can
believe-
sit there
did
and
you-
put your information in.
Here's why.
They don't care about your rights. What's so hard about making yourself insecure in your person? Just give us your ID and you'll be free to go. But if you don't, you're not free to go. And we're going to force you to stay here. And we're going to take you down to the police station if you don't abide by our commands.
And we're done.
Here's why. You swore an oath to defend the Constitution. You don't have reasonable articulable
I do
suspicion.
at this point.
You
You're
don't.
in an area, you
Here's
match
what
the
I'll do.
description of the
I'm
call.
going to give you my license and I'm going to file a complaint.
Damn.
We're going to make this a YouTube video.
Damn.
That's fine.
We're going to make it go famous.
That's fine.
And
Now, I understand. I'm not giving this guy a hard time, guys. I understand why people do this. It's like, look here, tell me, you are forcing my hand here. You're saying if I don't give you my ID, you're going to call fellow officers, fellow henchmen, fellow thin blue line gang members who will all be armed, and you're going to force me out of the car. So only because of that threat, I'm going to give you my ID. I get that. But I so appreciate people like the guy we saw yesterday who had his son in the car, who said, you know what, I'm going to take one for the team on this one. Because you ain't getting my freaking ID. I'm not making myself insecure in my person because of your hunches, because you feel like, or you suppose, or your opinion is. No, that's how we lose everything. That's how body counts start stacking up to the sky. That's why they have to dig holes, massive holes with these big earth movers to stick all the people in who just complied, who just gave their ID, who just show me your papers. Oh, okay, I'll show you my papers. So how about no? How about no? And then how about everybody else rise up and go, no, you're not getting my papers. I didn't do anything wrong. And who are you anyway? You're nobody. You got a clown suit on and a freaking Cracker Jacks badge. You're nobody.
Miss Collins, I apologize because there's a lot of people out there doing a good job. But I don't think that you're doing the right thing.
That's fine. And I will explain the complaint.
I don't think you're doing the right thing. That's fine. No, it's actually not fine. That should concern you. But the reason it doesn't concern you is because you're immersed, you're submerged, you're cemented in your own cognitive dissonance, thinking, because you got a perverted mind, that you're doing right when you are clearly, objectively doing wrong.
Process and everything to you, so that way.
And can you give me a complaint form?
I cannot. It's at our police department. I'll give you the address.
We're going to do the complaint.
Okay.
Damn. I know you guys are cringing right now. I'm cringing. Just give the guy a break. Damn. Oh, God.
Oh, wait. Can I see this for a second?
Look,
Wait a second.
that's his property, and he relinquished consent for a moment. She was supposed to give it back, according to Williams versus United States. Because you can revoke consent. Yeah, United States versus Williams, 2018, Supreme Court. You can revoke consent. He revoked consent, and she didn't comply with that revocation. She is actually in the wrong right here. She's actually committing a crime because she's holding this man's property. He wants it back, and she's withholding it. That is literally the definition, the dictionary definition of theft.
350 Concord, 27 out of California.
What I should have done, ma'am, is put it on the dashboard and made you take it.
It's going to be out of California. Adam 5098224.
Look at that. She gets,
Adam.
now he's going to be in the database. And anytime you go into a database, it's never going to work out in your favor. That's the first reason you don't want to give your ID and become insecure in your person is because it's the wrong thing to do. Now, I'm going to give this guy some slack, but it's still a wrong thing to do. I'm not downing this guy or anything. I understand, maybe under certain circumstances, if I had a family in the car, or I needed to get someplace and I could not, under any means, I have to be released from this so I can go, to the hospital or something to visit a relative who's dying, I would probably relinquish my ID. So everybody's got these things, there's certain situations. But there's two reasons you don't want to give them your ID. Number one, it's wrong. What they're doing is wrong. Not just the giving of the ID, but what they're doing and threatening with force and violence is wrong. The second reason is they're data mining you. They're putting you in the database so that there's an occurrence. We have pulled this guy over, and no matter what law enforcement official looks at this, you are already presumed in that database to be a guilty individual in their database. That's two reasons to resist giving your ID.
5098224 out of California.
Can I go get a complaint form now?
Yes, sir.
They're open.
Yes.
They will give me one?
Yes, so if you go to the
And
address,
listen, it's not about you.
That's fine. I get it.
It's about the Constitution, and I believe.
I understand.
To a little correction here, it's totally about the Constitution, and it's totally about her, because she, being an adult, voluntarily signed on the dotted line to become a part of a professional criminal crime syndicate that is not serving and protecting, but harassing and collecting. They each All these are human beings in these costumes. They chose to wear them. They chose to harass the public under the guise of protecting and serving them. They are personally responsible for the garbage human beings that they've become.
And I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I will stand corrected, but we're going to go through the process and figure it out.
That's completely fine. So,
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just asinine. My ID does nothing for you. It doesn't. It's like,
it does. It
don't take
identifies
offense
you.
to this. ID is like crack for cops. It just is. I mean, I watched the YouTube videos. I'm sure you must as well. It's crazy. It's crazy how policing these days want to lock everybody up. What's the address?
It's crazy how they want to harass and then lock everybody up, which could be construed. You know, when you're trying to fill the prison industrial complex and you're doing it through their supreme law of the land, because in the eyes of cops, the supreme law of the land is not the Constitution. It's not the Bill of Rights. The supreme law of the land is traffic code. And she didn't even pull him over for a traffic reason. She makes it very clear that she didn't. But traffic code does trump individual rights. Officer safety trumps constitutionally protected rights. But when he said that ID is like crack to a cop, yeah, it's an insatiable, addictive appetite. I got to make this person insecure in their person. I've got to lord something over somebody, and I got to do it right now. Give me your ID. Why? I have reasonable articulable suspicion because there's a white truck. There's a lot of white trucks. That's not reasonable articulable suspicion. That's a freaking hunch. That's all you got. Hunches don't trump individual rights. But I love the fact that he said, man, no offense. Well, how about offense? I want to offend you. You couldn't be more offensive than a human being pulling somebody over and telling them they're not free to leave because I said so. That's pretty offensive. All right, so there's some small talk here, and then he picks back up right here around the 9:33 mark.
Using your, how long have you been a police officer for?
6 going on 7 years.
6 going on 7 years. And again, this is just how I talk. Why the fuck would I leave a place if I was scoping someplace out and then park right here in front of the place? I know criminals are stupid,
I was gonna say,
but they're not that fucking stupid.
Actually, unfortunately, I have seen them do dumber things.
But
I don't know you.
Well, you know what? Criminals are very stupid, and one of the premier criminals that walk among us actually have clown suits and badges, come with the authority of the state, and have a utility belt. Usually, those are the premier, top-notch, top-shelf criminals of our day in America.
but I gave,
And they're very stupid. But I don't so much care about the low IQ of cops. I care about the zero morality of cops. They have no moral compass. Zero. And that puts us all in danger.
you a good explanation,
Yes,
and I
I've
was
also had
honest
people who
with you.
give me good explanations that are criminals.
And if I wasn't driving a company truck, I would not have given you my ID. And for you to threaten to take me to jail just because you didn't like what I said, that's why I'm going to go do the complaint.
That's fine.
That's fucked up.
Fine.
That's fine.
Sorry about the lane. It's just the way.
I've heard worse and been
Sir, my tyranny is fine. My tyranny is absolutely my ability to harass and collect. My ability and my desire to abuse my power and my authority and do something to you that I never would in a million years dream of doing to you if I didn't have this freaking uniform on. This is how criminality gets emboldened. This is why people say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I just want to modify that a little bit, as I often do. But it's not so much that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's that power attracts the corruptible, like what's her name? Collins? Miss Collins here. Miss Collins was attracted by the glistening, shiny ring of authority and power. She wanted to have that ring of power, and she wanted to be able to do to other people what she wouldn't want done to herself or people that she loves. That is a serious mental sickness. Actually, it's a mental sickness and a heart sickness.
But I'm not.
in my life.
I'm not directing it
know.
at you.
I get it.
I'm directing it in
Temple.
general.
I got you. It's good to be frustrated, and that's how some people replace.
Venting.
Yes. So.
All right, so that's Miss Collins doing what she does best as a part of the Concord, North Carolina Police Department. That's not serving and protecting, but harassing and collecting. What I will do is I will leave the link to Matthew Spacerelli's video here in the comments or in the description below. If you visit him, tell him here's the deal sent you. Now, I did offer criticism on Matthew Spacerelli. That is nothing personal. That truly is nothing personal. We all, if I did the same thing, and I've been, when I was in Washington, D.C., people were like, dude, you freaking caved. You better check for a vagina. And I'm like, God, I know it. Oh God, none of us is greater than all of us. Thank you guys. I appreciate the lumps. And that's part of life. Is the reproofs of instruction or the way of life. You're not going to get it right 100% of the time. I don't have anything. I think this guy generally did a pretty good job, and he's got his reasons for doing what he did. I have my reasons for doing what I did. And maybe in my case, I can't speak for other people, but maybe in my case, there was cowardice involved. You got to be willing to admit that so that you can grow from it. If you don't admit the things that you've done wrong, you're never, ever going to grow. And I mean, truly admit, not just admit because you think people expect you to admit it. It's truly, you truly look inside yourself and you examine yourself and you go, you know what? Yep. I did it because I was scared. I didn't want to suffer the consequences of standing for what is right in the midst of the tyrants who are bent on doing wrong. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website. That's right here, highimpactflix.com. That's highimpactflix.com. I promise I will never spam you. I just use this to, circumvent the YouTube and other social media algorithms so that you can actually get my videos. If you want to support the channel further, grab a hard-hitting conversation starting design from the store or become a channel member. If you want to support, that's fine. Support, I encourage people to support other First Amendment auditors, because as I was on a live stream today with Eli, I told him, dude, I really appreciate you guys. You're literally putting your necks on the chopping block for everybody else who either doesn't have time or can't afford to go through the litigation to fight the tyranny in our land. So I really appreciate all you guys out there. So support your favorite First Amendment auditor, your First Amendment auditing commentary channel or whatever. I appreciate you guys. Remember, the price of freedom is now and will always be eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. I will see you in the next video.